Thanks so much for making our tails wag by watching this guest interview from Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life. Make sure to subscribe so you're up to date with all of our Four-Legged Life content. Four-Legged Life. Four-Legged Life.
Hey, did somebody say road trip? Woo! All right. Hey, you know, your best travel buddy may just be your dog. I mean, your dog isn't going to be able to help you drive, but they're not going to keep saying, are we almost there yet? Are we almost there yet? Right? So, Pet Pals, today on this show, you're in for a double treat. That's because our special guests have logged zillions of miles coast to coast across this great country with a dog or two, and they know some awesome doggy vacay places. So please, at this time, give pause and applause to the publishers of Fido Friendly Magazine, my friends, yours too, the amazing Susan and Greg Sims. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Don't forget Honey.
And we have, for those on YouTube, we got a cutie pie named Honey. And in my back in Ard's den is Kona and Emma and, a cat named Casey. So let's get started first by saying, you know, we are so happy that more people are getting out after COVID. And I know that in our household, we are planning a doggy vacay. And I think there's a lot of pet households doing the same. Susan, what's your beat on that? Is this kind of going to be a pretty popular summer if you have a dog or even a travel happy cat?
Yeah, for those of us who were fortunate to be able to travel with our animals, we actually started our magazine Fido Friendly 22 years ago, if you can believe it. And
wow.
The emphasis, and the reason for that was there weren't a lot of options to stay with your pet when traveling. I mean, Motel 6 was about it, and we didn't even know that. We were sneaking don't ever do this, but we were sneaking our pets into Motel 6. So fast forward, now you have boutique hotels that are welcoming you and your pet. They have pet amenities, they have dog parks, they have cushions, they have, oh my goodness, the list goes on and on.
Well, I think you both, with your magazine, played a big role in changing how motels, hotels regard pets. I mean, I just got back from a big trip to Omaha to teach pet first aid, and it was very easy for me to find pet welcoming hotels. And I got to say, the perks sometimes are better for the four-leggers than the two-leggers, right?
Oh my gosh! One
That's
time,
the truth.
One time we stayed at a hotel with our Black Lab Junior, who's departed. It was Ashland, Oregon, and we checked in, and you're not going to believe they brought him a steak.
A filet mignon. Yeah, to the room, and we were going to dinner.
They didn't bring us anything, but they.
Well, they did give us dinner. So.
Did Junior put on his little napkin on a collar and say, I'm diving in?
Yeah, like bon appetit, right?
Yeah, he didn't waste any time, that's for sure.
Yeah, so
but when you do travel, and I'll ask this to Greg, and Greg, what are some things that people really need to bring when you're taking your dog on a trip? Whether it's a day-long trip, overnight, what's a few things that might surprise people that they should make sure they bring?
Well, probably a first aid kit would be a good suggestion that, you know, people might overlook, but just, you know, some favorite toys and, you know, food and the things you typically have at home.
I think the vet records is one.
Yeah, absolutely.
We learned that because we were somewhere and we had to get them sent over from the vet's office. So, and these are just things like if you're traveling and you have to have a passport, it's almost like your pet's passport, just so if you know, something unfortunate were to happen, you would save time having your vet. And if you have to put your dog in daycare, let's say you're at a hotel and you want to go do something where the dog's not allowed to come, you have to go to daycare. They've got to have the vaccination records. I mean, it's a whole list.
I know we can do paper copies, but like at my clinic, there's a portal, and now everybody has their phone. So I'm sure you can also download your pet's records on an app or something, right? For your on your
sure,
phone.
yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. Write that down.
So I know one of the things we had you on our show earlier last year, and that was because you do every year in the fall, get your licks on Route 66 from California to Chicago to help raise awareness and help shelters along that historic route be able to find homes for dogs and cats and other critters to be adopted. How long have you been doing Get Your Licks on Route 66, Susan?
This is, believe it or not, drum roll, this is our 15th annual tour, and we have helped place over 18,000 pets in the first 14 years. Oh, it's our heartstring. This is what we do. This is what we love to do. It's a lot of work. It's
How
sponsor
many miles do you do each tour? Have you ever kind of got an average, Greg? What's the mile towage? I bet you know that number.
It's probably 6,000 to 7,000 miles, just depending on shelters. Sometimes we'll switch up shelters and do different events.
That's a lot
to
of
help different locations.
So you're behind the wheel, Susan's behind the wheel, but Honey's in the back. What kind of vehicle are you using, driving, and what are some safety tips for folks for their dogs while they're on a road trip?
Well, most of the years we've had actually a vehicle sponsor, whether it's Ford, Nissan, Mercedes. We've had different ones, and I think maybe twice we've had to supply our own car because we didn't have a vehicle sponsor. But we're still working on that for the 15th annual tour. But if not, we use our Nissan Armada, which is, a large car. We can get 2 large dog crates in there.
Well, we don't need them.
Just in case.
Oh, just in case. But
just in case you adopt one on the way home. But tell us some safety tips for dogs in cars. And they come in different sizes. And I know, because you know better too, we never should put our dog in the front passenger seat, right, Susan?
Never. At one point, we were traveling with 3 dogs, believe it or not, and they would go to dog daycare while we worked these events. And when we would get ready to leave or pick them up, everyone had their own crate. They got in their crate in the back, and they would go to sleep because that's what they knew to do. And I know it's so easy to say, oh, especially with a small one. This is his first small dog that we have. We adopted Honey and Joplin at an event. And the very first thing we did was get her a crate, because you want to hold your little dog or your cat. You think, and you don't think about you're in the front seat and God forbid an accident and, the airbags deployed. Well, there goes your forever friend, basically. So that's our number one. And always should have tags on them in case something does happen. If they get out of the car, get loose, whatever. Obviously, microchipping goes without saying, but just be aware you're going to be in a different state, possibly, and it would be hard for people to find you if you don't have all that information.
Well, I just got back from a trip, and I have trained my pets to sit, stay. So when I open that seat, because Kona's in a harness tethered to a seatbelt, she knows that she's staying in place till I have the leash in my hand, and then I say, okay. And I reward her with treats. So that's a good idea too, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a bit.
All right.
Go ahead.
So we've given some safety tips. We've learned a little bit about Fido Friendly. I'm not going to tease you anymore. We're going to talk about some specific places that might be cool to take you and your canine pal after we take this break. So everybody just hang on. Don't let the dog take the wheel. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life Show. I'm your host, Arden Moore. We're talking to the creative, talented, dogged, dedicated people duet at Fido Friendly. We're talking to Susan and Greg Sims. They live in Idaho, but they've been all over this country. And your magazine is digital, and you've been on in existence for 22 years, which is pretty awesome. So
Thank
first
you.
of all, how do people get their paws on Fido Friendly magazine, Susan?
Oh, sure. Just go to fidofriendly.com. And on that website, you're going to see teasers for the current issue, which is our spring issue, and there'll be a subscribe button. So it's real simple. It's $12.99 for the year and easy to do.
All right. So no more delaying. Give me a place, unless whoever wants to go first, name a place you really like that you think dog parents might want to take their four-leggers to.
I think one of our favorites is El Portal, and that's in Sedona, Arizona. And interestingly enough, it is the only boutique Adobe style hotel or resort boutique hotel in Sedona. And what these people did is amazing. They built this, not only does it look like an old Adobe, but they built it with the pets in mind because the owners are such pet lovers. So it's tile, it's wood. Some of the rooms have a courtyard that's fenced for your dog. Most all of them do.
Nice.
They're just amazing, and they do wonderful things for the community.
Say that name of the place again in Sedona, Arizona.
Sure. Yeah, it's El Portal, which is Portal. And you can look those guys up, and they're like a AAA 4-diamond award winning. I mean, it's just lovely, and arts and crafts throughout. It's just lovely. And Greg, grab that. This is really interesting.
Actually, they're really big into animal welfare. They donate a lot to the local shelter, but he's actually, one of his hobbies, he's an artist, and he does a lot of pottery, with clay and stuff. Here's just a small example of something we brought back that, whoops, can you see that?
Yeah. Well, we're on radio first, but we'll tell people it's a beautiful ceramic bowl. And then for those on YouTube, they're going to get but that's kind of nice. They're giving back. So not only are they catering to pets, but they come with a heart, right, Greg?
Yes. And here's a piece of his glasswork. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, they don't put prices on these. You just make a donation, whatever you feel comfortable with, and that money all goes to the local shelter. So they're really big into animal welfare.
I've been to Sedona many times, and I got to say, I'll have to take that into consideration next time. It is a very dog-friendly area. There's a lot of places to hike and do things, and a lot of outdoor eateries, too, that welcome your well-mannered dog. Right, Susan?
Yeah, exactly. And, they're known for their vortexes. And there's that we like to say nature heals, and certainly does in Sedona. It's almost like amplified, just the pure beauty and the nature of it. And, that's one of our favorite places. We get to visit there every year when we're going cross country.
So where would be another place? Because this is a big country. Where would you recommend as the folks from Fido Friendly who've been there, what would you recommend? What's another good spot for people for doggy vacays?
Since we're traveling east, we'll go with the Moonrise Hotel in St. Louis, and it's on Del Mar. It's on the loop there, which
so Moonrise Hotel in St. Louis, Missouri, and you got St.
Louis Hotel.
Right,
yes.
And it's close to Washington University and Forest Park. I don't know if you've ever heard of Forest Park, but it's equivalent to Central Park in New York, and they had the 1904 World's Fair there. And
I wasn't
interesting
around quite then yet, but okay.
And I wasn't either. But anyway,
you're right in the heartland, Louis. That's and you've got the arch and all that. So tell us why you like this hotel. And it sounds like you've got plenty of places to take your dog for lots of looks and sights and sniffs.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's on Del Mar Loop, and there's a lot of restaurants and live entertainment right there. And plus, it's right next to the park, which there's so many activities going on. If you like to hike or walk or run, play tennis, they've got all kinds of activities.
What I like about it specifically is when you check in, there's a little chalkboard with your dog's name on it. And so you could be the only dog, and like it will say, welcome, honey. And back in the day, it was Junior, Jake, and Honey. And then they'd have little water bowls and treats. And,
nice.
they really see, there's a difference between being pet friendly, accepting pets, and being pet friendly. And so these are the types of places we love to stay at because they really see the importance of those who are traveling with their pet. Our mantra is leave no dog behind, and it's basically that's who they cater to. So those are the properties we like to stay. And you can have room service. It doesn't, you don't even have to worry about finding a pet friendly hotel. They have an on-site restaurant, which is pretty good too. But a lot of walking and pet amenities, use of beds and treats, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I like it. And you're in the heartland. You're in the middle of the country, and St. Louis has a lot of jazz and things like that. I don't know if Honey is into jazz music, but
she likes classical.
Oh, classical. Sorry. Okay. All right. So what would be another place? Do you have anything out east you want to share with our listeners?
One of our favorites, Journeyman.
Well, the Journeyman is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it's right downtown, and it's just an incredible place to stay.
It's a Kempton property.
It's a Kempton property, but they cater to the people traveling with their dogs or cats.
What about when we were there that night? They have like a cocktail hour. So at Kempton's, all the Kemptons, they will do a little cocktail. And so you are there with your dog and you're there with all the other people.
You have a yappy hour, right?
Oh, it's a yappy hour for sure. And that one particular night, you were talking to the bartender. What did he do?
What do you mean?
At that Journeyman when he rolled out all that spread for us?
Well, they have like wine and beer, but they have pizza that they make in their restaurant there, and they supply food and treats for animals at the same time. But it's very welcoming, and it's just an incredible place to stay.
Do we have time to talk about Boise?
Yes. Quick for Boise. You got a couple minutes.
Okay. So in the spring issue, the feature is called Bow Wow Boise, and it holds a big place in our hearts, obviously being in Idaho. But real quickly, on the Boise River Greenbelt goes for miles. Now, what we had found, it was the Riverside Hotel on the river, where when you check in as a pet room, it opens up to your own grass and it's gated, and then there's the greenbelt, and then there's the river, and then there's a winery right next door called Talea, and they have their little dogs out there, and you can sit outside and have wine. And then at the opposite end is this wonderful place called the Sandbar, and in the summer it has music and a full menu, and you can sit there on the patio with your dog. I can't say enough about Boise. And then they have an electric bike company that you can jump on. It's called Pedigo, and you can rent that bike because it's over 20 miles. I mean, it's beautiful. So you can rent an electric bike, and if you have a small dog, they'll loan you a carrier.
Oh, I love it. We've got about a minute left. So in general, where should people go to try to find pet-friendly places? Here's your time to shine.
Fido friendly, of course. we have a travel map on our website. You can click on it and it will hover around and show you the different areas. And we do include a lot of different travel features on our blog. So when you do go to fidofriendly.com, you can click on the blog, and there you'll find some travel features. It's a really interactive type of thing. There's so many product reviews besides that. Human interest stories. I mean, we love what we do. We're grateful that we can still do this, and that we can take our dog with us when we explore the great America.
All right, 30 seconds left, each quick. 30 seconds left. What's something that you like about dogs? Go, 30 seconds.
Oh my gosh, what's there not to love? I mean,
unconditional love.
Dogs don't care if you've shaved, combed your hair could be purple. It's just unconditional love. And I don't know where else you can get that.
Well, that's pretty much the same thing. And I have to say, I sing to my dog in the morning, and she doesn't mind my voice. And I sing, "Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning." And she just looks at me like I'm the most, she just thinks I'm a great singer. Like I'm not, but she doesn't care.
Well,
she rolls over and
to Honey, you are. Hey, I can't believe the show's almost over. Gosh, what happened to the time? But
I know. It's
I
always
really
fun.
want to give a pause up to our very special guest. Earlier on the show, we had representing Dutch, we had Dr. Brian Evans. And of course, just now we had the amazing team of Susan and Greg Sims of Fido Friendly Magazine.